No! God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
There are some things that you will willingly do knowing very well that the outcome is that I will come out as a changed person. With the years of cringe reporting I have done for all of you, I have become a person who will plunge into the experience knowing the dreadful nature of where I am going. Hopeful that I will come out alive and report back to you. I am here now, slightly more traumatized, yes, but more brave. You guys are my superiors. I am your soldier and I have endured a lot, and it's my duty to report back to you and exactly tell you why iSmart Shankar is a travesty that even the masses should reject. I may be for some in the comments a person who just doesn't understand commercial cinema meant for the large population of this country that wants escapism and entertainment, but I am here to tell you that you deserve better. And the assumption of movie producers and writers to present to you content such as this should personally offend you. The outdated and regressive template of iSmart is something you should personally reject. And while I will go into why this film is offensive on so many levels, from a basic IQ level also, it makes you doubt who is even making such creative decisions. And even more so, from a morals and female objectification standard, it really is representative of the mass commercial template that needs re-engineering, because you as a viewer are on your last straw. Puri Jagannadh and the evolution of his career has been rather heartbreaking for Telugu cinema viewers. A man who was at one point of time a game changer with commercial Telugu cinema, whose portrayals were what people connected to, especially when thinking about aspirational and strong male leads. The content, however, has degraded so rapidly, almost going in free fall, with the plots becoming even more ludicrous, the themes simply being regressive and of an era of the past. Recently, however, Puri Jagannadh experienced success with the 2019 film iSmart Shankar, a movie about a wheeler dealer Shankar played by Pothineni, who is willing to do anything for the right price. The film, which presents a heartfelt romantic angle as he stalks a woman Chandni played by Naba Nitesh and performs comedic gags as they make fun of her, while the heroine keeps on making gestures like eh and mostly has a tongue out like could have given you an aneurysm. I'm sorry for that performance, by the way, but I have to give you a visual experience right now. But speaking of trying to find a silver lining even in the trash that you're watching, iSmart Shankar had an interesting idea actually, where a CBI officer, Satyadev playing the role of Arun, his death causes for critical information to go with him, and it's needed. Hence, a neuroscientist played by Nidhi Agarwal transfers his memory to Shankar so that he can complete the case. However, the film is so loud, random, and forces analogies of Lord Shiv with our principal character, it comes off as any other forgettable commercial film. But it struck gold for Puri Jagannadh. So what would one do after a disaster like Liger? Might as well create a spiritual sequel that has just a faint connection to the first film. It's hilarious as the sequel iSmart presents Shankar as a Hyderabad ruffian now, so you assume he has left the CBI and is back to his criminal ways, still breaking the law and harassing women, making us realize that the original framework too will never change no matter what you do literally with a person's brain. But he still is the first human on who they conducted the memory transfer. So Puri Jagannadh, in a very lazy and convenient way, holds on to some aspects like Sayaji Shinde and Shankar's friend played by Get Up Srinu. But let's go of characters like Nidhi Agarwal, who he proposed by the end of the film by the way, and Satyadev, whose memories he had, who were key components to at least where we left off. Irrespective, I'm trying to find logic in a movie that does not care about you being a sane, normal thinking individual. So this movie is about an antagonist called Big Bull played by Sanjay Dutt, who is involved in the trade of weapons and drugs, and when he hears a shocking news of a brain tumor, he wants to transfer his memory with the idea to be immortal. The best candidate for the same, of course, is Shankar. What follows with this goal is iSmart, and a random comedic angle executed by actor Ali that is is an assault to the senses in every way. The film tries in such an inconsistent manner to establish a mother angle sentiment in this film, a character introduced just through this film and who was non-existent in the first installment. एक असली मर्द कैसा होता है एक औरत ने सिखाया है, referring to his mom of course. The fact that Shankar grows up to mostly harassing women and partaking in only criminal activities, I must say the mother really did not succeed in raising an asli mard. Our villain, played by Sanjay Dutt, is introduced in London beating up a Chinese gang with the introductory words of "I like Chinese people because of fried rice," to which the Chinese person replies "Si, mu papa." Bani J, playing the role of Bentley, Big Bull's right-hand woman, mostly shrieks and shouts in this film. Her opening lines being, ye kung fu wung fu nahi chalega, Big Bull tujhe phod dalega. What's hilarious is that while the action scene is taking place, a dragon dance is carrying on in the background, unfazed by the murders happening around them. Much like the club scene in John Wick 4, where people are more concerned about the rave than bodies around them. Sanjay Dutt's voice almost seems as if an impersonator has dubbed for him, much like how Dharmendra would never for his terrible movies in the 90s. Our hero is introduced with an action set piece, by the way, where he announces himself, "Shana nahi, ded shana, Ustad iSmart Shankar nahi, double iSmart." The hero is obsessed with putting things in people's asses. Every dialogue is grenade yahan ghusa denge, yahan auzar hai, wahan ghusa dunga. Everything is about ghusana. The man is obsessed with putting things up people's bum. Pothineni said in the marketing of this film that Shankar should not be idolized in any way. Yet in his introduction dance song, where he is pelvic thrusting and grinding with a girl, he has little kids dressed up as Shankar doing the choreography. I think him and the director are not on the same page regarding the celebration of this character. Shankar describes women as food products in this film, telling his friend that every food around town has become filled with chemicals and how it's been too long he hasn't had something organic. Only for the film to cut to food items he locks his eyes on. Who? Our heroine, Jannat, played by Kavya Thapar. This poor girl, by the way, I have to empathize with Kavya Thapar in this case because the movie only highlights her body parts and for her to be harassed by the hero and come in for dance sequences. Shankar stares at her, tells his friend, "Chamdi de kiski, touch karunga to meli ho jayegi," as the camera pans to her thighs. When the girl is visibly annoyed of his advances, of course the hero deflects blame on the friend, saying, "Izzat degi to izzat milegi." Of course, Shankar never puts this to practice for himself, literally calling out to her by calling her Chamia. The worst subplot in this movie is a character by the name of Boka, played by Ali, who is a tribal man from the Amazon jungle who is brought to India to learn the civilized way of living. He is described as a man who only knows how to hunt and sleep with women. He stares at a woman's breasts in the first scene itself, and throughout the film, fiddles an object that looks like the male genitalia to entice women. His entire purpose of the movie has nothing to do with the film's plot, but to showcase him physically harass women, all under the guise of comedy. He, with his phallic-looking object, puts women in a trance and has sex with them. He is described as a man who can't sleep without with 10 to 15 women and is found manipulating them into having, aka the film is filled with unintentionally funny moments. Our villain in London lives opposite the Big Ben and tells Bentley ki nikalo isko because the Big Ben keeps on reminding him about the limited time he has in this world. The film has a lazy angle where they shed light on how there is an uprising in South India, that they want freedom from India. It really seemed like an afterthought versus actually a significant part of the script, if there was any. Every opportunity Shankar gets, he tries to grab hold of Kavya. Even when engaging in an action sequence together, they execute suggestive positions to highlight Kavya's body parts. Even Bani J is not spared. Named Bentley, Shankar tells her, "Oh, Bentley, जिससे बड़े लोग चढ़ते और उतरते हैं." When Shankar gets even slight attention from Bentley, his friend says, "सब लोग तुम्हें ही पसंद करते हैं, ये मेरा माल है." Every 15 minutes or so, there is a stupid over-the-top action scene and Shankar describing the women he slept with like the different pitches he has played cricket on. Let that sink in. There is no silver lining even with the music of this film. The hero is found constantly pelvic thrusting while Kavya is mostly instructed to wear scantily clad clothes as she is held tightly or spanked. You know what's crazy is that if you think about it, there is potential for this to be an interesting film. A villain fearing dying, putting his memory on the hero. This constant moral dilemma as Shankar switches from himself to Big Bull could have created a pulpy action thriller, but the execution is so lackluster that I could not even find a positive aspect for this film. Shankar especially becomes a dollar store aparichit, and it accounts for several unimpressive moments where characters around him deal with either Shankar or Big Bull, something that appears after random hits on the head. Like you maro a tapli and Shankar will come, maro another tapli, Big Bull will come. Like how TVs are used to get fixed with one tight whack. Every time Shankar does something marginally impressive, he looks at the camera and says, "Double smart." On a serious note, I think it's actually very offensive that they use a man who harasses women and carries out every immoral act and criminal activities and use Lord Shiv's symbolism to represent him in the climax. A shivling in the background with a Bhagwa Rang cloth around his waist and a Rudraksh mala as well. If Bollywood used the same symbolism, this would have been dragged left, right and center. To represent Shankar as an extension of Lord Shiv is forced and unnecessary in my opinion. What's worse is that I don't like the association period because he has the IQ of a 10-year-old, saving the password of a Swiss bank account with $120 billion as "I love you Jannat." But I guess you just say "double smart" to the camera and everything is fine. Boca goes from women's compartments in a train to malls to harass women, dancing on songs and constantly with his tongue out leching at a woman's body. Bani J keeps on shouting dialogues like "Hey, koi use roko." Kavya is mostly sporting low-cut tops where the cameraman is insistent on focusing on her body. Big Bull keeps on saying "मैं Big Bull हूँ." Shankar keeps on saying "मैं भी Big Bull हूँ." और मुझे लगा कि मैं भी बोल देता हूँ कि मैं